Breaking news tonight, shocking, and I mean really shocking new developments in the case of that beautiful 3-year-old Florida girl named Caylee, last seen with her mother, Casey. Little Caylee has been missing, as you probably know, for 10 long weeks. Now, just in the last couple of hours, police announced one of their own has been fired for allegedly lying about his connection to Casey Anthony. A sheriff's deputy reportedly had a sexual relationship and numerous online chats with mother Casey just weeks before little Caylee goes missing. This, as more than 400 pages of key documents in the investigation are released. And we have even more bombshells for you tonight. Bombshells so big, the California bounty hunter who helped bail out Casey now says if he knew then what he knows now, he probably would not have come to Orlando at all. Yet another witness claims Casey's abandoned car smelled just like a dead body. And it's revealed Mom Casey took little Caylee to adult parties and poker night, drinking and partying just feet from where the little girl slept on a couch. We already knew Casey Anthony stole money and gas from her own parents. But now comes word Casey actually stole, get this, money from her own 80-year-old grandma and allegedly cleaned out a friend's bank account. Still tonight, the big question remains, where is 3-year-old Caylee Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony Luciano. Yeah. Want to speak with me for a minute? No. What's it about? Caylee? No. No comment?
Former Orange County Deputy Tony Rusciano did not want to talk to us about Casey or Caylee Anthony. The 24-year-old was only on the force for 6 months until he was fired Friday. Deputies found out he was linked to the 22-year-old mother just a few weeks ago. When he was questioned about knowing her, he initially told them that he met her at a party and barely knew her. But he was terminated after detectives looked into the relationship a little further.
Good evening. I'm Jade Velez-Mitchell in for Nancy Grace. Tonight, could this be the big break in the case we have all been waiting for? Shocking, really shocking new developments as more than 400 pages of key documents are released in the search for 3-year-old Florida girl Caylee Anthony. This, as a sheriff's deputy is caught lying during the investigation over his alleged sexual relationship with Casey.
An Orange County Sheriff's deputy was fired just hours ago after it was proven that he lied about reportedly having a sexual relationship with Caylee's mother, Casey Anthony.
They did a forensic search of Casey Anthony's computer and typed in some key words. It led them to pages of chats between Rusciano and Anthony. They did talk about her daughter Caylee in those chats, but none of the chat was truly meaningful in terms of helping detectives find the missing 3-year-old. We do understand that Rusciano and Anthony had a sexual relationship. Apparently, they were talking to each other around the end of May, which would be just weeks before Casey says she last saw her daughter.
I'm Jade Velez-Mitchell in for Nancy Grace. The big bombshell of the evening in the very same Florida Sheriff's Department that is investigating the disappearance of little Caylee Anthony. Word that a sheriff's deputy has been fired for allegedly lying about his relationship with that missing child's mother, Casey. The Sheriff's Department isn't revealing the nature of their relationship, but reporter Jessica D'Onofrio of CNN affiliate WKMG is reporting that the cop and Casey had a sexual relationship. For the very latest on this truly stunning development, let's go straight out to that very reporter. Jessica, tell us everything you know about this alleged relationship.
Well, what I know is that he was terminated 5 days ago. He wasn't fired for having a relationship with Casey Anthony. He was fired for lying about it. Detectives got word that he might know her a couple weeks ago, so they started asking him questions. How do you know her? How long have you known her for? They actually interviewed him twice, and detectives say that he lied to them twice about the nature of his relationship with her. Come to find out, they went into Casey Anthony's computer that they had seized a while ago. They were able to put in some keyword searches, and then up pops a chat between Casey Anthony and Tony Rusciano, this deputy that was just fired. In the chat, you can see that they obviously had some kind of relationship. You can also understand that they are talking about Caylee at points in time in that conversation. But what I'm told is that there's no reason to believe that there was anything in those chats that would lead them to find this missing 3-year-old. I understand that he did have a romantic relationship with Casey Anthony. Of course, you know, he was fired because, not because he had this relationship with her, but because he lied about it. And
Jessica, how did they meet?
From what we understand, he met her at a party. Initially, he said he had met her at a party, but he barely knew her. They looked through that computer and found out that wasn't the case. And, of course, when he was confronted with that, he fessed up.
I understand that her ex-fiancé was also a cop, and possibly he was the one who introduced the two of them?
I don't have that confirmed, but Jesse Grund, he is an Orlando police officer. He recently resigned. She was dating him for a while, and I believe that there are some questions about whether he introduced Casey to this deputy.
This is such a shocker. Let's go to Mark Williams, news director at WNDB News Talk 1150. You have been covering this from the very beginning. And let's talk about this alleged sexual relationship between Casey and this cop who is now resigned. According to the timeline, wasn't she also having a relationship with somebody else around the end of May, a guy named Tony?
Tony Lazaro, she was having a relationship with, Jane. Here's the deal is that she was almost living with Lazaro at the same time when all this was going down, when all of a sudden Caylee went missing. And Lazaro and she were basically living together. So basically she was playing two people against each other, which is pretty interesting.
Now, Marva Hinton, reporter for WDBO Radio, also covering this case from the very start. Let us tally up the number of relationships that we could attribute, at least allegedly, to this 22-year-old Casey. How many are we talking about, and who are we talking about?
Well, just since little Caylee has been missing, she was reportedly involved with 4 different men. We've mentioned some of them already tonight. Tony Lazaro, Jesse Grund, back at the end of June. They spent a weekend at the beach together. There's also Ricardo Morales. I'm not sure if we've mentioned him or not, but she also was spending time with him and with the deputy who was fired. So that's 4 different men, all while little Caylee was missing.
And then, of course, we have the mystery of who is the father of little Caylee, which apparently has not been solved whatsoever. Pat Brown, criminal profiler and author of Killing for Sport. There is nothing illegal about having relationships. But given the nature of this case and some of the other things that have come into place, the allegations of drug use on the part of some friends that are in the documents, and we have 400 pages here of documents, which we first showed you last night, that we've been going through all night long to get all the details. So, again, you know, having a relationship isn't illegal, but do we have to bring in the issue or the question of promiscuity or alleged promiscuity into the mix, and what could it signify?
Well, I think the most interesting thing about Casey's many boyfriends after Caylee went missing is the simple fact that she wouldn't have any time to look for a child if she's got all these relationships going, and that she would even have an interest in starting up one relationship after another when her child is missing. So that puts more validity in the fact that she had no interest in looking for a child.
And Patricia Saunders, clinical psychologist, to add to what was just said, there is another huge shocker in this case, and it seems like every page of that 400 pages had a shocker, another bombshell. But reports that after Caylee went missing, at least 2 friends told investigators that Casey asked them to go night clubbing. This is after her little girl goes missing.
If a person doesn't have a conscience, they have no capacity for empathy, and they don't experience anxiety the way normal people do. They live in the moment, and they're impulsive, just looking to serve their own needs. So if you don't experience guilt, if you don't have a conscience, if you're basically a sociopath, then there's no problem going out partying or having 25 lovers while your baby is out there alone and possibly dead.